Okay, so we're going to start again. It's okay to start again. You're Chris.
I'm Chris.
You had surgery when?
I had it on September 9th of last year.
September 9th,
Yeah.
and today is September 31st of last year.
Yeah, so 1 week short.
1 week short.
Yeah.
And prior to surgery, you weighed?
I was 300 pounds a day of surgery with a high of 345.
And we don't want to tell anybody, but you had a complication after surgery and couldn't swallow, had to stay an extra day?
Right.
But say that really fast so it's not heard on the video.
Yeah, but with your little magic potion, it got rid of it.
You had the cocktail.
I had the cocktail. And within the next day, I was feeling a lot better. I dropped 120 pounds in less than 6 months, came back and saw you. You were thinking, you know, let's see if by creatine and some extra protein, if we could level off and not have to worry about a revision. But we did talk about if we saw my weight continuing to drop, that we would think about a revision.
So you were worried because you lost so much so fast.
Yeah.
And you started being a little more aggressive on eating, would you say, or just taking some supplements?
The supplement proteins, like I've had trouble eating, but nothing compared to, you know, the common norm after your surgery. I can pretty much eat almost everything. You still gave me the ability to eat Snickers bars. That was one of the jokes that you said, is go ahead, and I still have them, just because it does help with keeping the weight on. If I'm very active physically, and I can tell if I haven't got enough to eat, I can drop from 195 to 185 in 2 days of playing baseball. And then it's just rebuilding again. So as long as I'm watching myself, I pretty much know if I'm going to be good or not.
And how do you feel?
95% of the time I feel fantastic.
But 5% of the time weak and tired and kind of washed out? Or?
Yeah.
And you can fix that with salt and food? Or?
Salt is the key. Mine is salt every time. I know right away it's salt. And you talk about the Prilosec, we talked about it earlier, is I know when I need to go back on it for just a day or two. The acids start to build up, and you know, my wife's here with me today. She'll say, I'll just like, no, can't eat, no. I'm laying in bed, uncomfortable, and I just know that for a day or two I need to be on it, and then I'm off it again. And away I go.
So, potentially, we had the fear of too much weight loss.
Yeah.
And you basically just started eating more and eating some of the supplements in addition.
Yeah. I eat all the time. And it's really hard for my wife being on the opposite end of it. Like, I'm always eating, and she feels now it's a kind of a reverse scenario, is where, you know, stop eating, you know, you don't need to eat as much, and I'm just like, no, I got to, and it's all the time, and it's small all the time.
Now, what we would tell you over the long term is that's going to go away, that your expending effort to eat is going to adapt and not be as necessary as time passes, because your gut is going to adapt.
Right. So
that just like you kind of stabilize now at about a year out, over the coming 10 years, we expect you to gain between 10 and 30 pounds.
Perfect.
And
I'd be happy with that.
So you have to be cautious now. You can start to maybe ease up a little bit on that constant attempting to force yourself to eat a lot. You can kind of back it up a little bit. And over the next 6 months to a year, and then over the coming 5 years, what we expect is that the weight loss goes down and hits a minimum around a year or so. And then as time passes beyond that, you can kind of ease up a little.
But I also find, like, I eat most of what I eat from 1 o'clock in the afternoon into 9 o'clock at night. I'm not a morning eater. We'll go out for breakfast while we're here, and I don't even feel like eating. You know, I'll have banana first thing in the morning, and then I'm good till noonish. And then after that, it's nonstop. Every hour or two, I'm eating something.
Any comments from the boss?
Oh.
Well, he's too skinny.
Too skinny.
That's just so
Now wait, let's have votes from the rest of the room. Too skinny?
Who, him?
They're totally on the other side of it. That's
No,
I'm
but
sorry.
to Lori's defense, I'm the same waist size I was when we got married.
Right.
But I had 60-inch shoulders when we got married.
Football player, so
He's like a little man.
Right.
But if we were just to ask everyone, I'm just saying, I understand what you're saying, but if we ask everyone else in the room, let's all vote. Everyone who thinks he's too skinny, please raise your hand.
I'd say the word thin.
Yeah.
As
Well,
opposed
now,
to-
and
and
again,
skinny's kind of an insult. thin.
If you tell me that you want a revision, we can do it. We can make him bigger again. You know, there's no question. But we find that sometimes those perceptions are, you know, like you say, it's based on the other person. But everyone else here, I think, generally feels like that's a good.
And having been that football player, you know, and signing with the Kansas City Chiefs and all that nonsense, as much as my ego is different and not being 245 pounds and strong as an ox, I'm better off 183 and not strong as an ox. I mean, I can still do my job. I can still do the things I do for fun. I'm getting stronger at it. There's no, you know, I'm 59 years old. There's no.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. If
no
we
need
were
for me to be there.
Yeah, if we were to
If
look
he's
with
25.
X-ray vision at his arteries, inside his arteries, the arteries for that bigger guy tend to narrow, and, you know, middle-aged American men, young middle-aged American men like myself, we die. We have heart attacks, you know, we stroke, and we die.
And I take care of it.
And you see it, right?
I take care of it.
Right. So his maybe being on the slight side of thinness actually gives him a longer lifespan too. So, but I understand you're saying.
I just think that, I mean, you guys all understand that there's a big stereotype with skinniness and thinness equals healthiness.
Right.
So I've done the year with him. I see the incredible amount of time in the bathroom.
So you have lots of diarrhea still?
I
No.
see how
No
much
bowel movement.
it hurts
Yeah,
him to
well.
eat certain things.
You still
So
have-
I don't necessarily equate
Like no
skinniness
diarrhea.
with healthiness. Yes.
No. Okay.
But she's right. You do spend a lot of time in the restroom. You eat, and you know, you go to the bathroom 7-8 times a day easy.
Oh no, you'll level out twice a day.
No, see, and I go to the washroom from 6 in the morning till 10 in the morning, and that's it. I'm done. I'm done for the day. But it's constant, like 4 times or 5 times in that 4 hours.
Well, you might want to chat with me about that because you don't have to do that. In other words, what we would recommend is the gut is still adapting in that first year. And that if you talk to people who are further out, the body is going to adapt. Just like if you were to lift weights every day, you know that you would get better muscle build if you jump.
And that's like now, like I've gone through summer. I golf 2 or 3 times a day. I'm playing ball 5 or 6 times a week. Now I'm getting into winter, and that's what my whole plan is now. Is straight bulk weight and see where I can go.
No, I apologize. I didn't mean it exactly that way. I meant that inside of your gut, it's adapting.
Right.
In the same way, like unto if you were building weights.
Gotcha.
But then I wanted to go further and say, in the meantime, we can help adjust that frequency by just taking some medicine. So you can go to the grocery store and take some Imodium, and you just take some of that in the morning so that you don't have that while the gut adapts. So my background is, for many years, I did surgery on people who had a disease called ulcerative colitis. And we would take out all of the colon, and then you had 2 choices. Either have a permanent colostomy or ileostomy forever, or we would take some of the small bowel and try and recreate an artificial colon. And for the first year, when you would have that artificial colon made out of bowel, people would have bad diarrhea. Now the gut would adapt, but we would give tons and tons of Imodium, and it could help. So by bringing this up, what we would suggest to you to think about is not to kind of suffer through that, but to contact me, and we can adjust some medicine so you don't have that.
Okay.
And then for our patients who are further out, just like you can eat more meat probably today than you could 1 week after surgery, right? Because your gut has adapted. And the foods that you can eat today, a year after surgery, are different than 6 months?
Yes.
And different than 3 months after surgery?
Yes.
And different than 1 day after surgery?
Right.
The same thing is going to be true of your gut as it adapts. And we can help that adaptation. If you'll chat with me, we can give you some tips and pointers so the adaptation can be more comfortable over the long term.
Perfect.
So it's good you brought that up. Yeah?
Chris, how much did you have 5 pounds?
6 feet.
How much did you lose so far?
115 is where I leveled.
And you're how many months out?
I'm exactly 1 year.
I mean, I leveled out just about then, but then I ended up getting down to, I ended up losing 145.
Yeah, I was here in March, and you actually were here that day too, so I heard your story that day. It's kind of interesting that you're here again today.
Well, it's something, yeah.
Yeah.
See. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please do.
You're working out and everything?
I'm very physically active now. My plan now is, as our summer's coming to the end, now I'll start the weightlifting, and that's what you were doing when I was here in March.
I was wondering if
You were pumping, and you were running lots. You're like 10 miles every second or third day.
6.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, but I remember that that's what you were talking about.
You're you're doing creatine and glutamine?
Yeah.
Like
Just creatine, not
just
glutamine.
creatine? Okay. Because I'm having a hard time getting my muscle strength back. I'm just now doing 70, 80 pounds.
Well, really, see, I've lost the mass power. Like, if I want to move a truck, I've lost that because of weight. But, like, opening a jar of pickles or anything, nothing's changed with me.
Oh no, that's nothing. I just can't.
You can't
push my weight. I can't push 250.
That's what we hear that. In other words, the terrible thing about the weight loss is a heavy person's body doesn't want to burn fat. That's how they got to be heavy in the first place. So that when we starve you, you end up giving up a lot of muscle mass, which we don't like at all. That's why we think the supplements are so critical. And there is some danger, but it's even worthwhile seeing an endocrinologist to see what your testosterone levels are, to even maybe take a little testosterone for a while.
Honestly, and I think Lori would say it, mine's down. I know without getting tested, for sure mine's down.
And usually, depends again at the timing. What they find for most of our women is their pre-op estrogen is high, and it goes down after surgery. Most of our men, depending, their testosterone prior to surgery is low, and it'll actually come up. Now, it depends on how much weight loss and what time we test it. So that actually, in theory, should go up. But sometimes as we age, sometimes with massive weight loss, there can be lower testosterone levels. And then you get into the argument, all men's testosterone drops as we get older. All women's estrogen in general drops as they get older. When we discovered we could give estrogen as pills, we gave all kinds of women extra estrogen thinking it was a good thing, and now we found not so good. The same argument is going on with men and testosterone. Now we have pills and gels and patches. We know that our testosterone goes down as we age. Should every one of us all get extra testosterone?
Well, interesting enough, I've been on testosterone for a while. My levels were extremely low, even when I was a big guy, so it had nothing to do with the weight loss. And they put me on it with Blanky, the endocrinologist. He actually called up panicking that it was so low that I started on shots, and I think every 2 weeks I was taking a shot. And then they went to the gels. But in the last visit to the pharmacy, I actually had to prove who I was and all kinds of stuff. Because now it's being controlled as a what's it, class,
class 3 drug.
Because it's so.
Because Barry Bonds.
Well, they found that it could be very dangerous, but
right. Well,
so if you don't prove
I was
that your levels are medically low,
taking some testosterone before I come to clinic, because get some tough questions.
But they found that the problem with low testosterone, besides your sexual performance and your muscle mass, is depression. And they found that it can cause depression enough to cause suicide and stuff. So, as well as it can do the same if you take too much of it.
Well,
so
that's the other thing is that there's this whole question: how much, sometimes, how low. So it's worth looking into in some of our patients. On the other hand, with the bounce that's coming, your body, which does not want to give up fat, and then against our wishes is burning muscle, will start to change over time. Your body finally, I think of asking Uncle Scrooge to give me a loan. And he says, no chance. And so you go home, poor Bob Cratchit, you can't get a loan, nothing from Uncle Scrooge, and you have to burn the furniture to keep the house warm. Okay. Finally, though, Scrooge is going to come around. By the end of the story, he does finally give Tiny Tim the goose to eat for lunch and everything. So finally, your body is going to give up that fat.
Tiny Tim got his surgery. Tiny
Tim will live, and inside of you, Scrooge and Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit are having a fight, and it did not want to give up any fat. Your body, which is Scrooge as far as burning fat, finally, over the years, will give up that fat. But getting that strength back is tough. It is worthwhile getting a serum testosterone level tested, because all people, not just our patients who have surgery, get low testosterone as you get older. And then there's a bunch of controversy about when to treat and how much to treat and things like that. So.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question to you then. I'm going to the gym as usual. I'm lifting weights. I'm very muscular. I just have some belly fat. I went from 183 to
Is it
190.
belly fat or is it skin?
It's skin it's skin and little belly fat. And I went from 183 to 191. But I'm muscular, and I'm not to worry. Then if I'm not pushing
Everybody, well,
250
you're how many years out now?
3 this month coming.
Yeah. So
3
we
in the third.
expect you're going to put on some weight. You know, in other
Yeah.
words, our 10-year data is people gain some weight. You know, and in fact, some of that's good because you're going to get some of that muscle back too. But we do see over 10 years that you have this. We can expect you're going to get some weight back.
Well, I can handle 195.
The average weight gain over 10 years is
If I get
15
there.
pounds. And very few people gain more than 20 over 10 years.
Well, I've gained 9. Since I got to 183, I'm like at 191 now.
Fatty?
Fatty, yeah, but I'm in the smaller size. I'm in 33 ways.
Well, and it's hard to argue with 33 ways.
No.
All right,
All right,
good.
awesome.
Other questions that we should answer for you or talk about? Or
No, just the